Champions of Europe on the 31st of May, and 74 days later, PSG are kings of Europe, if that's what you say. Anyway, PSG beat Tottenham in Italy for the UEFA Super Cup after beating them on penalties, and it was 2-2 after 90 minutes. And this was an entertaining game, people. I'm not going to lie to you. PSG deserved this win because this was a fantastic comeback. To be down 2-0 after close to 50 minutes, people thought that PSG were down and out, including myself. I have to be honest and hold my hands up. I thought PSG were going to lose this game, and I thought that Tottenham were going to win another European trophy in a space of a few months. But PSG said no. They made a couple of changes, turned the game around, and deservedly won the game. And this is a team that started their season 2 weeks ago, because remember, they played the Club World Cup and they went on holiday for nearly a month. They started pre-season a week and a half ago, nearly two, reported back for training, and this is how they start their season. What a way to start it, with a trophy, confident. In the end, it's the quality that made the difference. PSG were just stronger than Tottenham. Tottenham done well, don't get me wrong, but PSG were just better. Luis Enrique is carrying on the fantastic work that he's been doing with PSG since he took over. And honestly, that deserves massive, massive credit. Because in the first half, people were saying, oh, this is a team that looks lethargic, that looks slow, that just came back from holiday. But now it's the same opinion, but the perception is different. Now you're looking at this team and going, this is a team that came back 2 weeks ago from holiday and they won a trophy already. Credit has to go to PSG. And the game started off exactly excuse me, the game started off exactly how I just explained in a nutshell, with PSG having a lot of possession but not really knowing what to do with it. There was a lot of passes that they were playing around, but Tottenham defensively, I have to say, were really, really well set up, and we'll talk about Tottenham in depth in a few minutes. But I felt like PSG really struggled to get through Tottenham just because they were defensively so solid. I did feel like the starting 11 was a bit strange, understandably, because like I said, they just came back from holiday. They've been training for like a week and a half, maybe two. So they don't really have the fitness level the same way Spurs do. So I was a bit surprised to see PSG being a bit leggy, lethargic, slow on the ball, not really fizzing the passes the way they used to. It was a completely different team physically compared to what we saw in the Club World Cup. And yeah, the midfield of Vitinha, Doué, and Zaire Emery was a weak one. I'm not going to lie, because Zaire Emery got bullied. Zaire Emery got bullied in midfield. He couldn't really cope with the likes of Palhinha, the likes of Sarr, the likes of Bentancur. That was a solid Premier League midfield with loads of physicality, packing that midfield. And every time Zaire Emery was on the ball, Vitinha was on the ball, every time Doué was on the ball, it just felt like Tottenham were all over them and they were just hunting them. And I even lost count of the amount of balls they won back in the first half. So, PSG really struggled in that midfield. At times the defense would have the ball. Pacho, Marquinhos didn't really know what to do with it. So sometimes they would just try and launch it forward. When Dembele was making a run, when Kvaratskhelia was making a run, it was, and Barcola was making runs as well. He got the ball played into him a couple of times, with Diags coming from the opposite side of the pitch. So, PSG really tried, and they had to find different methods. But then PSG conceded that first goal, and I have to say, defensively, even if you've just come back from holiday a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, defensively that was poor. To allow Palhinha to get to that ball in the first place, when that ball should have, ended at Marquinhos. He should have headed it away. He should have headed that ball away, Marquinhos. But I don't know, he kind of falls over and the ball lands with Palhinha. Somehow Palhinha gets a foot to it, off the crossbar. Van de Ven is quick to react to make it 1-0. I have to say that was defensively poor. The second goal that they conceded in the second half, start of the second half, started like a house on fire. And again, very similar. The first goal, back post, goal. The second goal, back post, goal. Even if you just come back from holiday a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, Defensively, that has to be better. I mean, you were warned once. How come it happened twice? You know, so defensively, I'm sure Luis Enrique will look back at this and he'll tell his team, listen, this is what we need to be careful with throughout the season in the Champions League, because, you know, with the way the league phase happens, Tottenham might as well just play PSG again. You never know. So I thought that was really poor. And, you know, we'll get onto the main topic, you know, in a second. Actually, no, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. The second goal that PSG conceded. Back post, Romero, header, Chevalier. Lucas Chevalier. Now listen, right now it looks like Luis Enrique has won his bet. He ostracized Donnarumma from the squad, said he wants to look at different options, and this is his decision that he made. But right now, even though you won the UEFA Super Cup, people are going to look at you and go, Luis, are you sure? Because I look at that second goal that they conceded and I'm going, Donnarumma saves that 1,000%. He doesn't make that mistake. When it comes to the penalties, I mean, is there a better penalty saver in the world other than maybe Emi Martinez than Donnarumma? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I want to touch on the topic of Donnarumma. And I just want to read out the statement, and I'm just going to try and find it for you guys. Here we go. Donnarumma. To the special Paris fans. From the first day I arrived, I gave everything, on and off the pitch, to earn my place and defend the goal of Paris Saint-Germain. Unfortunately, someone has decided that I can no longer be part of the group and contribute to the team's success. I am disappointed and disheartened. I hope to have the opportunity to look the fans at the Parc des Princes in the eyes one more time and say goodbye as it should be done. If that doesn't happen, I want you to know that your support and affection mean the world to me. And I will never forget it. I will always carry with me the memory of all the emotions, the magical nights, and of you who made me feel at home. To my teammates, my second family, thank you for every battle, every laugh, every moment we shared. You will always be my brothers. Playing for this club and living in the city has been an immense honor. Thank you, Paris. I just want to focus on that second paragraph. Unfortunately, someone has decided that I can no longer be part of the group and contribute to the team's success. I am disappointed and disheartened. Very strong words from Donnarumma, who was probably sat at home watching this game, and after that 2-0 deficit, he was probably looking at his, peers around him or his people around him and going, I think that was a very, very bold move from Luis Enrique. And unfortunately, we live in a time where ball-playing goalkeepers are the thing now. They're the best thing since sliced bread, and everybody wants a goal. Everybody wants a ball-playing goalkeeper. And I'm a culprit, I hold my hands up. I was the same. I was one of them guys that said David De Gea needs to go, and rightfully so, because let's not forget towards the end of his stint at Manchester United, it was horror, absolute horror. So out goes Donnarumma. He's ostracized from the squad. In comes Chevalier. Now Chevalier is, very well known to be good with his feet. But I'm looking at that second goal and I'm going, we might see a lot of mistakes, just like that one, throughout the season. Now, Luis Enrique has taken a massive, massive gamble, because on another day, if this is not Tottenham and if this is a different team, you lose this game. You lose this game, and all of a sudden, people are looking at you and going, why did you make that decision? I personally think this is very, very harsh. Just because someone refused to sign a contract extension, and it may be deeper than this, I don't know. But just because someone refused to sign a contract extension does not mean you need to ostracize him like that. Personally, I think it's super, super harsh, especially because he helped you win the Champions League. He was a massive, massive part of that PSG team winning the Champions League. You cannot say otherwise. So Luis Enrique, massive, massive gamble. And it's up to you now to prove the world wrong. to prove to the world that you've made the right decision. So yeah, that's that. But yeah, listen, this was a great comeback from PSG. The way they came back with the first goal, brilliant. The second goal, and I think the substitution that changed the whole game for me was Fabian Ruiz. Fabian Ruiz came on and the game changed like that. And that shows you what a quality player he is. And a lot of people always ask me, Aaron, in your combined 11s, why do you always put Fabian Ruiz? This is why. He may do stuff that goes unnoticed, but he controls that midfield. You know, his touches are so meaningful. Every pass is taken care of. Everything is meticulously planned by Fabian Ruiz. Such a good midfielder, man. So underrated. And it's because he doesn't do flashy things or because he doesn't hit it from 30 yards top bins, people go, oh, he doesn't do nothing. No, he does things that go unnoticed all the time. And his substitution, for me, changed the whole game. That second goal that PSG scored, the equaliser, this is what Tottenham need right now. They need someone up front where you can just whip it in. It doesn't matter what pace the ball comes with. As long as a striker's there to put one of his body parts against that ball, it's a goal. And that's exactly what Gonzalo Ramos did. And again, substitution, perfect timing, Luis Enrique. He actually saved this game, if I'm honest. That was an inch-perfect cross from Dembele. Ramos gets his head to it, 2-2. And from that moment, I knew PSG were going to win it. I was actually surprised it didn't go to extra time. I thought it was actually go to extra. It was going to go to extra time, but it didn't. It went straight to penalties. And, you know, obviously PSG won it, but I have to say some of these penalties were absolutely awful. You know, on Spurs' side as well as PSG side. Vitinha, ooh. Matisse Tell, ooh. What was that? What was that? But anyway, congratulations to PSG. I think they deserve it based on the fact that they came back and initiated that comeback with quality football. It has to be said. It has to be said. By the way, that goal from Lee Kang-in, loved it as well. Lovely goal. Lovely goal. Spurs. Listen, it's not the end of the world, man. It's not the end of the world just because you didn't win the UEFA Super Cup. I mean, if Spurs had won it, they would have been the first side to have won the Europa League that was going to win the UEFA Super Cup since 2018. And I think it was Atletico that beat Real Madrid 4-1. Listen, it happens. You know, losing finals, you know, other fan bases are going to clown you, but they never been there. So Spurs fans, it's not the end of the world. You know, certain fan bases are talking, but they've had to sit down for the last 2 decades and watch half of London pick up European trophies before them. Listen, Spurs fans, do not worry. Do not worry. However, I do think in the first half, there were some things that I really liked. Danso, I thought was fantastic in the first half. Kudus, Mohamed Kudus on that right-hand side was working his socks off. The physicality, and listen, Nuno Mendes is a very, very good left-back, very physical. But I thought Kudus dealt with him really well, man. You know, put his body on the line, put his body against him, tried him a little bit and went, you know, you want to go body for body? Let's go. And he held his own, man. You know, technique was there, holding up the ball was there. You know, that Ghanaian strength was definitely there to be seen. So Danso, Kudus, and Richarlison, he worked hard, really, really hard in that first half. So I think those 3 players, for me, were standing out a little bit. I do feel like at times they always preferred to go down the side of Kudus, and they kind of left, what's his name? They kind of left Jet Spence on the left on his own, and he was asking for the ball a couple of times, never really got it, you know, but season is still very, very early into the season. They can still learn from those mistakes. I do want to talk about the creativity, because at times it felt like Richarlison and Kudus were all by themselves just trying to initiate any and everything. And I think the chance that Richarlison had where, you know, he intercepted the ball that was meant for someone else, played by Dembele, played it into Kudus. Kudus plays it back into the path of Richarlison, and then Richarlison just hits it first time. Chevalier saves it, parries it over the bar. I think that kind of sums up what kind of half it was and where Spurs really lacked creativity. And this is where I'm going to transition into the Savinho and Eze topic. If Spurs, which I think they can, managed to land these two. Oh, listen. All of a sudden, you're looking at Spurs and going, hold on a minute. It's not just Kudus and Richarlison up there. It's not just Solanke coming off the bench because he was injured. It's not just Matisse Tel coming off the bench. It's not just Odegaard coming off the bench. Now, you're talking about Eze and Savinho, two quality players. Technically, in my opinion, very, very good. Very good. Now, if City managed to land Rodrigo, I think Savinho goes to Spurs, 1,000%. Now, in terms of Eze, that's a different topic because I hear a lot of his boyhood club is Arsenal. He wants to go to Arsenal. He wants to join Arsenal. And I've got no doubts that he wants to join Arsenal. If he wants to join them, that's fine. Boyhood club, I understand. But I posed this conundrum. I talked to people online and I said, okay, fair enough. Arsenal have interest in Eze. But do they really need him? No. And I'm going to tell you why. Eze's got two choices, basically. Knowing that he's a 10, bear that in mind. He's a 10, right? Would you rather go to Arsenal, play out of position, and Champions League football, and not start every game? Or would you rather go to Spurs, knowing that you're a 10, knowing that Maddison's a 10, out for the season, plus Champions League football as well, and you're starting every game in the Premier League, most likely, plus Champions League, knowing also that it's a World Cup year. Now you tell me, if you were a player, forget the whole boyhood club thing, where would you rather play? No minutes or a few minutes out of position or every minute in your favourite position? I think the choice is very, very clear here. I think if Spurs manage to get this Eze deal done, that's a brilliant piece of business. Brilliant piece of business. Brilliant piece of business. So, yeah, let's wait and see what happens, man. But Spurs fans, like I said, there's nothing that you should be worried about. I think Spurs are still going to have a good season. I think they'll do well. I think they'll still make additions to their squad. I think Thomas Frank is a good coach. He's still in his infancy in terms of tenure at Spurs. So there's nothing really to be worried about like that. So, yeah, listen, let me know what you think in the comment section below, people. PSG are the kings of Europe. Deservedly so. Spurs fans, do not worry, your time will come. And yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe. It's road to 20K, closing in on 18 people. And I'll see you soon. Peace.